Fariba Baloch, who was awarded the 2024 Woman of Courage Award by the United States Department of State under the Biden administration, has referred to the terrorist Abdul Malik Rigi as a martyr in the narrative section of her Instagram account, even posting photos of him. Rigi, the former leader of the armed group Jandallah, is internationally recognized as a terrorist responsible for orchestrating deadly attacks targeting civilians. Indeed, Baloch was invited to speak at the Berlin gathering that was organized by Hamed Esmailion, a protest held in response to the regime's brutal killing of Mahsa Amini. Glorifying a violent extremist under the banner of human rights not only dishonors the memory of victims but also discredits the values of justice, freedom, and dignity that the Iranian people and their allies around the world continue to fight for. The Iranian Americans for Liberty organization views the decision of the United States Department of State to bestow the 2024 International Woman of Courage Award upon Ms. Fariba Baloch as a departure from conventional norms, constituting an affront to the Iranian nation and undermining the principle of Iran's territorial sovereignty. Ms. Baloch has been notably associated in public forums alongside individuals and factions advocating for the disintegration of Iran. Her prominence has been facilitated by media outlets with leftist bias that prioritize political affiliations over the merits of political activists and advocates. Her selection for the award, ostensibly for her contributions to the national movement of Iran, a movement known in Western media as the Women's Revolution or Revolution for Women, Life, Freedom, is particularly controversial. This is due her advocacy for separatism and ethnic nationalism in the Sistan and Balochistan province, a sectarian position that belies her aspirations for Iran as a united country enriched with a long history of ethnic diversity, and disrespects the Iranian people and the bereaved families of Iranian protesters who lost their lives while chanting "My life only for Iran." Fatemeh Sepehri, a monarchist political prisoner, has ceased all phone contact with her family, weekly visits, and medical transfers since April 6 in protest of the dire conditions in Ward 5 of Vakilabad prison in Mashhad. Her brother Asghar Sepehri shared the news, revealing that the ward's windows were bricked up, reportedly following the fall of Bashar al-Assad by direct order of Ali Khamenei. The ward's door has also been locked. This has left the space without ventilation, and prisoners can now only move under strict guard supervision. According to him, a broken sewage system and overwhelming stench have severely affected prisoners' breathing, placing Fatemeh's life at serious risk, especially given her pre-existing heart condition. The Sepehri family holds prison authorities and Ali Khamenei personally responsible for any harm that may come to her. Sara Abbasi, wife of Manucher Bakhtiari, the father of slain protester Pooya Bakhtiari, has revealed that she has not received any contact from her husband since March 19th. She says he spent the entire Nowruz holiday in solitary confinement. In a brief message, Mr. Bakhtiari reported being threatened with death by Mr. Gholami, the head of intelligence for Qazvin's prison system, stating, "My life is in danger." Mrs. Abbasi condemned the judiciary's injustice, emphasizing that her husband has spent over 4.5 years behind bars, mostly in solitary, simply for seeking justice. She called on the public to be his voice, saying seeking justice is not a crime, but in our country the government treats it as the gravest offense. Reza Mohammad Hosseini, a monarchist political prisoner held in Qizil Hazar prison, has declared that he will begin an indefinite hunger strike. In a powerful statement, he emphasized that his decision is not rooted in weakness, but in faith and a sense of responsibility toward the silent repression plaguing Iranian society. He stated that his strike is a protest against the regime's ongoing executions, the continued imprisonment of protesters, systemic human rights violations in prisons, and the deadly silence forced upon the people. Describing political prisoners as hostages of a ruthless regime, Mr. Mohammad Hosseini noted that their suffering was meant to serve as a warning to others, but now voices of resistance are rising from every corner of the country. Beginning a wet hunger strike, refusing food but continuing to drink water, he stressed that this is his final means of protest, a cry against injustice and a reminder to the world that there are still people standing, unbroken. He dedicated his strike to the voiceless victims of past crackdowns, and to those who, if silence continues, will be next. Protests have taken place in Sistan and Balochistan over daily blackouts across Sistan and Balochistan, despite temperatures soaring above 40 degrees Celsius, have sparked public outrage. In response, citizens organized a protest demanding fair electricity distribution. They warned that if the situation persists into the summer months, it could pose a serious threat to people's lives. Candidates who participated in the Academic Center for Education, Culture and Research Quality Assessment exam gathered in front of the Ministry of Education building in Tehran. Protesters traveled from various provinces to voice their outrage over what they claim was a sudden and unjustified increase in the passing threshold and score manipulation that left many qualified candidates out of contention. The demonstrators accused the authorities of engineering the results, suggesting that the scoring system was deliberately altered to limit the number of successful applicants. They argued that the opaque changes undermines the credibility of the examination process and violated principles of fairness and merit. Workers from the Iran Poplin textile company in Rasht gathered in front of their workplace to protest the non-payment of their February 2025 wages. The demonstrators expressed frustration over what they describe as a recurring pattern of delayed payments, which they say has become a permanent feature of their employment. The workers also raised concerns about their precarious working conditions, highlighting that most are employed on 3-month rolling contracts. This system, they argued, denies them both job security and the ability to plan for a stable livelihood. School drivers in Isfahan held a protest to voice their frustration over ongoing economic difficulties and the authorities' failure to pay their overdue wages. The drivers, many of whom have not received their payments for months, say they are struggling to make ends meet amid rising costs of living, fuel, and vehicle maintenance. They criticized local officials for their silence and inaction, emphasizing that school transportation is an essential service and that their demands for timely and fair compensation have been repeatedly ignored. Retired steel workers from Isfahan staged a protest march and gathered in front of the pension fund office. Frustrated by the government's unfulfilled promises, the retirees called for immediate payment of overdue pensions and urgent action to address their worsening living conditions. They announced that these protests will persist until their demands are met and their voices are truly heard.